This program is designed to provide general information with regards to the subject matters covered. This information is given with the understanding that neither the hosts, guests, sponsors, or station are engaged in rendering any specific and personal, medical, financial, legal, counseling, professional service, or any advice. You should seek the services of competent professionals before applying or trying any suggested ideas.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Movie Review and More on this first week of October. I am introducing everybody today because Brian's here, but he's having a little bit of feedback issues. So I want to go around and introduce our guests. And I'm going to start with Judy. Hi, Judy. How are you?
Good, Terry. I'm fine. How are you?
I'm doing good. So
great.
We're going to start with you and introduce yourself and let us know about your projects and what you'd like to tell our audience tonight.
I am Judy O'Byrne, president of Hasmark Publishing International, and we literally make authors' literary dreams come true.
Yes, you did that for one of our co-hosts, Angelica.
Yes,
so we're so proud of her. Yes.
Yeah, she's doing amazing. Amazing.
So tell us a little bit about what makes Hasmark special and what makes your authors special.
It's Hasmark stands for Heart and Soul of Marketing. So what we do is we put our authors' heart and soul into creating their books, and then ultimately the author does as well. So we really want to give an author the feel of being part of our book family. And that's what's really important to us. All the rest is just, makeup and stuff like that. But by far, it's making sure that their journey is incredible.
Yeah, and then you have the augmented reality, which I think is so special. That kind of stands you guys apart from everybody out there. So explain that to our audience a little bit.
Augmented reality is where a book will come alive, where you can literally, we have an app and you scan the app and there's an image on the book or in the book that will then pop open to a video. And it could be animation, it could be video, it could be audio. Any of those things.
And we have some of our books. We're going to show some pictures of some of our authors. I'll clue that in for anybody who's watching us on the podcast.
Yeah,
we've got several authors who have been on the show with some amazing talent.
Absolutely. And with me tonight is Dave. Dave Foley is working with me and the Hasmark team to have done a lot of these books. In fact, he's very passionate about augmented reality. I saw his face light up.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. Augmented reality is one of the coolest things I think I've ever seen coming out of a book. And we launched that about a year ago or so. And it's been incredible fun. So even some of the books that went by, the book covers are what we call the marker for the augmented reality. So when people scan the book cover, they get like the book trailer or something like that, or an author image would be a message from the author, like a little video will pop up talking about the book that you're reading, or if there's anything else that you'd like to click the button below and go to my website, that kind of thing, It's pretty cool.
Question, is your company the only one that does augmented reality for books at the moment?
The short answer is no, but we're the first ones to take it globally.
Okay.
and it's so that it literally is available on a global scale. But we're not the only ones, but it's not very common.
We are the only publisher, though, to do it in all genres of books.
Oh, there you go, too.
Children's books have been doing it for quite a while now. But we, as a publisher, are the first company to bring it around the world, as Dave mentioned, but in all genres.
Yeah. And where do you get, where can people kind of submit like their books or their work to you? If there's anybody out there that's got a book that wants to get published, how would they go about that? What would your recommendation be?
The best thing to do is go onto our website, hasmarkpublishing.com, and check it out, because we're really a full service. We, as Dave has behind him, not only do we have the publishing and the marketing, but we also have courses for authors as well. And you can do it yourself, or you can do it with us. And best thing to do, go on our website. There's a contact form. There's a free toolkit for you. We're actually right now offering even a free program for authors to get started.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Judy, how many books do you show at one time on your website?
We're running at about 40 to 50 at any one time. We have them in various formats of publication or marketing, that kind of thing. We don't just publish, we'll market a book as well. We've been doing that for about 14 years, putting them on bestseller lists.
Are they categorized?
Yeah, they are. By far the best books that make it into the bestseller lists are self-help books, motivational books, that type of thing. Business books are right up there. Children's books. Fiction can do it too. We've done a lot of different. When they flash by all those books, I realized how many different genres of books we do.
Awesome.
And now that with the books, the amazing thing is that you can maybe put them like into movies or create them to TV shows. And this is where Bayan would come in, because he's an award-winning filmmaker. So welcome to our show. Tell us a little bit more about what you do, about yourself, and how you got into the film industry.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you for having me. My name is Bayan Joonam. I'm a documentary filmmaker. I make documentary films and series for networks like Vice, CNN, MTV, and in my work, I really try to explore the intersection of technology and humanity, and the ways that our society is shifting due to the impacts of technology.
Which is crazy, of all the different things that are going on. I got to meet you briefly at Claire's event last week, where I was able to do some red carpet interviews. I think we might have some pictures from the event. If we do, we'll show those. But it was really great to speaking to the different actors and how cathartic realism is brought into their work. And everybody's got trauma. And it really, I think that kind of makes us all human. So it was really interesting to hear, some of the people's stories and the different projects that are coming along with what you're doing with Claire. So do you want to elaborate a little bit on that, or how that comes into your documentaries, or?
Yeah. Well, I think, cathartic realism, as it relates to the genre that Claire Chubbuck and Sophia DeMarco founded, I think it really builds upon, the Chubbuck technique, which is something that you heard from in terms of actors, as how it's a process to really tap in to an authentic set of emotions that you can portray on screen through a fictional character. And I think Claire and Sophia are really taking it a step further by inviting actors to share the stories of, their hardships, the challenges, traumas, I call, big T and little T traumas, and be able to use film and the art of filmmaking in order to regain power over those narratives that sometimes control us in ways that I think are really damaging. And so I think it's a really beautiful extension of the Chubbuck technique. It's also, I think, as a filmmaker, I find it really powerful because it gives everybody in the process a common language to speak. I'm much more of a visual storyteller. That's how I think about it. I kind of came up career-wise as a cinematographer. And so to have this process and this language that you and an actor can both kind of connect about, it really creates a shorthand that I think is a way to create really authentic storytelling.
Yeah, and I really think as an actor, it's really important to be able to draw that trauma to tell a story, and it's also very healing. And it was interesting to talk to other actors about that. You know, this is another form of therapy. I don't have to go to therapy. I can go and I can go back to that trauma. I can understand that maybe their abuser, and there's a lot of psychology based in it. I mean, I studied psychology in college, and so Pia Melody does a lot of stuff with trauma bonds. I don't know if you're familiar with her work. So that's why this interests me so much. And again, you know, I am a firm believer that God kind of slaps everybody across the face at one point in their life, and it's a learning lesson, and you grow from it, and you grow from that trauma, and you become a better person.
Yeah.
Certainly.
Brian, how do you choose your actors?
Well, I actually don't do a lot of scripted work. That's more my partner Claire. That's her bag. I work mostly in the unscripted space, and so how I choose my subjects, though, in general, is I like people who are relentless. I think there's something about, you know, a main character who doesn't give up despite, you know, the world maybe telling them that their dreams aren't achievable or that their worldview is crazy. I think those are the things that really trigger my curiosity when it comes to understanding, like, you know, how does the internet, you were mentioning augmented reality earlier, right. You know, the ways that this line between our digital and physical selves are becoming more and more blurred. And so I see a lot of those themes in the people and the communities that I've been following over the last few years.
You know, as Bayan is talking, I can't help relating to the stories that many of our authors have, because really that's what it's all about. We see that all the time. We get to talk to these amazing people every day. And so they all have bigger aspirations than just writing a book. The book is really supporting their business or themselves and their message. And so there's a real natural progression from having the idea to, I want to, you know, I've lived my life. I've got this incredible tale to tell. I need to write a book about it, to actually getting it into a movie or on screen. So there's a real nice synergy here, you know?
Yeah, I loved hearing about the way that your technology is interacting with I mean, I can't help but think about the broader applications in education and creating more immersive curriculums for, you know, the modern classroom.
Right. So I guess the natural question now would be, how do we get our authors in touch with you or get someone's story told through film?
Oh man, that's like you know, there's like this thing I talk about with documentaries where because they're often projects that you have to self-start or put your own initiative into. And so I always say that, like, the only way you lose in documentary is if you quit. And when it comes to like the adaptation, though, of a book or something that exists, I think you're already starting with one step ahead of a lot of people who are just kind of, you know, finding the story as they are creating it.
Right.
You know, as opposed to there being a thesis that has been identified and a lot of research and information you can come to that that process with. But you know, it's a case by case basis, I think.
Brian, are your documentaries something that somebody pays for and has to produce to promote themselves, or is it something? How do you make your money on it?
Yeah, I think I guess I would describe it as like risky business in a way. it's something that, yeah, I've had to self kind of finance a lot of the projects early on through the development stage before you can even really pitch it to a network, or it's in a phase where you can get it funded. And so that's really blood, sweat, and tears. And then once you're in a position where you can, pitch and hopefully sell the project, you then are kind of, providing services for that project. You are creator of that project, and so that's where the budget comes in, where you can actually make the money.
So it's no cost to the person that you're promoting, right?
Sorry, what do you mean?
It's no cost to the person that you're promoting through your documentary.
Not typically. I mean, I think there's like a lot of different ways that documentaries come into life. It really depends who's the person pushing the train, You just have people coming at it from like maybe a business perspective, right? Like you have folks who come at it from like, I'm a filmmaker by trade. So it's like a lot of the things that say a business would need to hire to do that development, I just know how to do those things. So have time costs, whereas maybe somebody who's like more on the producer end might need to hire those roles, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So there's, it depends. It's always like there's certain things that need to get done. The question comes into like, who's going to do it and how is that going to be funded?
I see.
I always tell everybody it takes about 7 years for a documentary to be made. You've got to raise that money. You've got to go back and do those interviews. It's not an easy job, but congratulations on being an award winner, because you guys work your butts off doing it. And I love documentaries. What made you want to be that filmmaker to do those docs?
Good question.
Yeah.
Well, I grew up in Israel. And that is a country that has a lot of amazing aspects to it when you think about it, like historically, geographically. And I grew up in a little town called Haifa, which was kind of the most northern city, or the largest city, in the north of Israel. And from like 2000 to 2004, there was this wave of attacks known as like the Intifada. And they got really close to home at a certain point. And so at the time, I was really what I would describe as like a skateboard rat, like I just made skate videos. I took pictures of me and my friends skateboarding and edited together clips. But that was the first time where I like really saw this side of humanity and faith that was very different. And so it kind of led me on this journey of really wanting to understand the story of the person who, the suicide bomber, the person who blew themselves up. And that was something that kind of led to just an inherent, I think, curiosity about humanity and trying to create stories that kind of are able to bridge these ideological extremes that I just, over the years, have found myself like wherever I live, I can see that. And so what was in Israel, kind of the radicalization of young men, mostly during that time, now I see happening in America through the internet, through very similar means. And so the reason why I make the documentaries, or the documentary series that I just did for Vice about QAnon, was because of really, I could trace it back to that moment in my life, and then wanting to kind of like tell stories that went beyond just like, skate videos. And that, I think that answers the question.
Yeah, and it was also, to piggyback on that, one of the things I think Howard was talking about is he has a fascinating background. Not only does he have a book that I want to get out there more, it's the history that he has in Tennessee. Howard, tell him your story, and then Judy, we're going to go back to you on bringing in self-published authors also.
The story of what now? I'm sorry.
Your background of your family.
Oh, the background. Okay, yeah. My dad was Little Roy Wiggins. He played steel guitar for Eddie Arnold, and he started actually with Pee Wee King, and then Pee Wee King, Eddie Arnold hired him away from Pee Wee King. And when he was playing with Pee Wee King, he was playing with Cowboy Copas and Patsy Cline. And if Eddie Arnold hadn't hired him from Pee Wee King, he probably would have died in the plane crash with Patsy Cline because they traveled together. So, and then Colonel Parker was my dad's manager, just like Elvis. So it's kind of funny because after my father died, I found out more about him than when he was alive. When he was alive, he was just my father. And I knew a lot of famous people, but they were just friends of my parents. And then when he died, I got on the internet and Googled and found out all this other information. So, and then today, Roletta Lynn died here in Nashville. So that's a big tragedy for all of us here, well, around the world, actually, because she was a big star.
I heard that.
So I've looked on my Facebook page, and nearly everybody I know knows her. So they're posting pictures of when they saw her and her family. And actually, I'm friends with her daughter and on Facebook. So it's a touching thing. But, you know, and what's sad in a way is they always say it happens in threes. If you notice when someone starts to die, that's of recognition, there's usually two more to follow. And it just kind of happens that way. So I'm just waiting for the bomb to drop. I don't know.
Was that some kind of Hollywood curse or something like that? Because I remember my mom always told me that growing up. Like, but it is weird because it's a weird phenomenon, but it always happens. It's three people. So I don't know if it's some kind of
I know
curse.
about the same time. You know.
Yeah.
So just watch and see.
Yeah.
Just coincidence, but you know. But think how many people there are and how many famous people there are. And then, you know, and they're all reaching a certain age and it happens. So,
yeah, it might be just kind of a coincidence kind of thing, but it is kind of spooky because it always happens.
Yeah.
So Tosh, let's talk about Tosh.
Oh, I was gonna ask Judy something because we've had amazing authors coming by on our show, like, you know, Angelica, Roberto, and Donna, and I know there's a few more that we've had. So, like, how do you choose like the people that you want to, like, you know, represent for your company? What is like the process of that, or how do you know that this is the person you want Hasmark representing?
Oh, great question. I love it. And you have had some incredible authors on your show, and I know there's more to come. And every time I talk to Brian, it's like, oh, I got another one. I know with somebody else that honestly, the stories that about the books and the people were just, I don't know. The universe is the one who brings them to us, I think. Because what'll happen is during that first call that Dave and I have with them, it's like there's a connection that happens. And I almost instantly know they're coming back or not. And because it's part of the process is they're being interviewed and we're being interviewed.
Yeah.
And it just naturally is a great synergy. And that's kind of, the universe helps us to choose it. It's that simple.
I think too, there's a certain element of attraction that those kinds of people, those kinds of incredible people are showing up to our front doorstep, like literally. And it's that easy. So as Judy was saying, when we're having that interview or that first meeting with them, you feel it. It's just amazing. And then you can't wait to work with them. I can't wait to read your book. I can't wait to, go through this with you. It's going to be
hear
so
your
fun.
story told and where it's going. Angelica's a great one. I can remember the first mention of her name. I can remember the first time I talked to her. Yeah. And then to see where she is today, she is an incredible role model for everyone, but for authors especially, because she had nothing before that in that world, like on the whole entrepreneur world of authors and where you could go with your book. And she's done incredible. She was messaging earlier today. So she's got some exciting things still going. But she doesn't give up, though. I liked when Bayan said earlier about that relentless personality of just keep going. And as soon as you said that, I thought Angelica.
Yeah.
She's got that relentless personality. She's just go-getter. And those are the ones who do really, really well with their books and with their work, with their message to the world.
She's
So
also
do you work
really
with
good
your authors to tell them things to promote themselves?
Yeah, we have a marketing team that works with the authors, and then we'll do press kits and stuff like that with the authors. So we will.
So you'll set them up
marketing.
with book signings or promotional aspects of the book?
Not so. We'll have them set up to do that. So we'll give them all the tools that they can then go forward with.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was just going to give Angelica a great compliment. She's very into, and I try to do this myself, but it's very into manifesting her reality and what she wants. And when I was growing up, my mom always told me that I need to picture in my head what I want. And if I picture that and I believe it's going to happen, it's going to happen. And the power of your mind is very powerful. People do not realize it.
Yep.
And I know a lot of the authors, a lot of actors. I mean, a lot of people do that, the vision board kind of mentality, but it works. And I just wanted to bring up Tosh. Tosh has got some amazing stuff going on. So let's talk a little bit about you and the Latin. I don't know if you know this, but I talked to Angelica, so I'm going to be joining you guys at the Latin Grammys. I booked my hotel room. I'm going.
Oh, I'm so excited. So crazy story is that Angelica was actually the one who introduced me to DJ Extreme, who is also a very huge DJ in Chicago, and he's working with a whole company over there during the Latin Grammy Music Week for like showcases for starting up Latin artists. So I'm one of the artists that were chosen to go perform in Vegas. I'm performing 3 of my original songs, like 2 performances. Wow.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It's very exciting. And I have to thank Angelica, because if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't even know about it. So that's me. I'm a Latin pop singer. Just started about 2 years ago, and I just love writing about just lots of good energies. I'm a huge manifester. How like Terri was saying, just like Angelica, I always envision myself selling out, concerts and people being able to connect with my music, my lyrics. It's all Spanish though, but it's okay if you don't know any Spanish, because you can just feel what I'm saying through the beat. And yeah, so that's the huge thing that's happening in November. It's the week before Thanksgiving, so I know I'm going to be very grateful for what is going to happen that week during Thanksgiving week. But I do have it is a lot of money, and I'm a like a self-published author, but I'm a self-published singer. So I did, set up a GoFundMe, which I've been so grateful, because people have been able to donate and share on their Facebook. And it's really been helping me a lot. I've raised over $1,500, and I was like, yeah, so it helps me, to get to where I want to be. So I do have that GoFundMe page. Anyone who's listening, tuning in, sharing is a huge thing. And instead of buying a pumpkin spice latte, give those $5 to me. But yeah, I invite all of you guys to listen to my music. I'm on all streaming services. You see Vocally Tosh. That's how my Instagram handle and my my radio name. But my name is Nathasha Rumbos de Rumba. So you can definitely search me up and get some Latin vibes into your routine daily.
So,
Natasha, you want to explain your dinosaur outfit?
Oh my God. Okay. So I actually went on my first camping music festival last weekend. Wow. And I took this because it was 40 degrees at night. So I was and it was all dinosaur themed. Everything was prehistoric. There were dinosaurs everywhere. So I was like, you know what? Let me be a little dinosaur onesie, and honestly, I still feel like I'm there. So that's why I wore it today.
It reminds me of an alligator or a gator, just because I know you're in Florida, and I keep
really
seeing
does.
like all these videos of all the gators that are coming up because of the storm.
Oh my God, DJ, you know what I'm talking about? Lost Land. Yes. I'm sorry. It's a huge dubstep like bass festival. So I'm so happy that DJ knows.
Anyway, for anybody out there who doesn't know who I am, I have been with Brian I've been working with Brian for over 7 years now. I'm an entertainment host. I do red carpet events. That's why I was at Claire's events doing interviews. And I'm also a fitness personality, and I've done some acting. And right now I'm working on an NFT project called Conspiracy Farm, which is based on different characters with different personalities based on different conspiracies. It's a really neat project. I'm really proud of it. It's not ready to be launched yet, but we're getting closer. So stay tuned for that, and it will be up on OpenSeas when it is done. So that's another thing about augmented reality, which you guys right familiar with NFTs. All the gaming uses NFTs, and like Snoop Dogg just used the ape characters in his videos. So it's an exciting time for blockchain and just the internet, Web3. There's just so many neat things that are going to be coming out in the next couple of years. I think it's going to blow people's minds.
I forgot to mention I'm going to be in a movie where I'm going to play emergency room doctor. It's who's going to take care of me. It's in November.
Oh man, I see
I go to Hollywood for that. So, and then this tomorrow on the 6th, or day after tomorrow on the 6th, friends of mine are having a premiere for Blemish, which is very much like a lady abuse movie. And that's going to be exciting to go to and see my friends in that. So there's a lot happening. And then, of course, the Judy Garland event coming up, that we're all going to that here in Nashville. I'm looking so much forward to that event. So.
Tosh, you're going to have to come out here. I don't know if you're a rocker, but, I'm in the Wicked Kid video that's there for their new album release, and we're going to be having an event at the Whiskey when that's released, but I'm going to be featured in their one of their videos, so that's kind of exciting. So that's my latest acting venture. So
do you know when that's coming out?
I don't know when it's released. I know like a couple of shows ago we did show some stills, but it's kind of an interesting concept. It's made that video is based on trauma too. My husband dies in the video, and then I go back to go visit my mom that I hadn't seen in a while. So it tells a story. I'm excited about that project. So I don't know. A lot of things are going to be coming up, but at the end of the year, I know me and Brian were talking yesterday. Like there's just so many events coming up with the holidays, and it's a little crazy. So I can't believe this year is almost over. I don't know if it's like this went so fast.
I can't believe we're in October already. Like it's just mind blowing to me that in 3 months, like 2023, like what?
Yeah, well, wait till you see the schedule that I got set up for next year. It's gonna blow your minds away.
No doubt.
And talking about that, so I wanted to know favorite filmmakers. What got you into filmmaking, man? Because I know you're a movie whore just like me.
Who are you asking? You're asking Brian?
I think Bayan.
Bayan.
Oh man. So I actually weirdly, I really like visual artists more than filmmakers as a source of inspiration. So one of the biggest influences of weirdly like my artistic career is Diego Rivera. I really liked the way that he was able to use murals as a form of storytelling. And that was kind of like at the time this radical idea that especially for like a country that was dealing with trying to find itself and having a population, a large portion that could not read, visual art was able to teach folks about the history at the time. And so I think about filmmaking now like having a similar trend as being one of the most a medium that is capable of educating people about just media literacy or about technology in a way that is effective, that speaks people's language, because it can be hard sometimes, I think, using traditional methods to talk about these things if it's not like packaged in something that's entertaining. I love Werner Herzog as a filmmaker, actually as a person, even probably more than as a filmmaker. I think he's like so fascinating. He is just a great storyteller. When you just hear him talk about anything related to film, yeah, those I would say those two.
That's because he's real. He's eccentric. He's just real.
He's an outrageous character, you know. Like I was watching his review of this Kanye video from like a few years ago, where Kanye was kind of in bed nude with like a number of celebrity doppelgangers, and Werner Herzog is giving like this dead ass review, you know, like very seriously, as if it's this like award-winning film about like why, you know, even just the inherent questions that are raised by the first images, you know, it forces the audience to say like, what the hell is going on here? Like, what led to this moment? And those are the things that I find, like, whether it's fictional or documentary, they like capture your attention, and they're able to like work with your emotions in a way that like everybody can participate in. So I like those things.
Brian, what's your next big project coming up?
Oh man. So speaking of Web3, I'm working on a Web3 project with a big crypto exchange. A medium form series, like 12 minutes type of series that will be coming out on a platform, you know, streaming platform, hopefully early next year. Really great, because I think we're coming at talking about Web3 and the technology that powers Web3 in a unique way, which is leaning into different sectors of the economy. So we look at how, instead of like blockchain as a tool for cryptocurrencies, we really talk about it as a tool for authentication and supply management, and show how, through this really crazy story of a wine forger named Rudy Kurniawan, how the blockchain is actually able to solve a problem that's been around for over a millennia. And so I'm really excited about that, because I've got a lot of, you know, a lot of friends, I think, and there's been a lot of storytelling in Web3, but I'm hoping that this series is more accessible to people who maybe like wine or cars or music, and or want to come at it from that point of view, rather than like, you know, like, I don't know how many people, I'm sure, you know, Tosh, you can probably relate, but it's just like, how many people have sat there trying to hear from somebody like an explainer on NFTs? Right?
Yeah.
Just like, it's the worst. It is the absolute worst. And so I think to wrap that in a story, you know, that is talking about the solution to a problem that's existed in the music industry for, you know, two centuries now, which is that like the way that artists have gotten paid hasn't really changed that much. When you think about the way that like royalties are created and distributed, it is a cluster. Fill in the like next part of that word yourself. It can lead to artists not getting paid for months or years after they get a sync deal. And there's a lot of human error in that process too. And there's people here probably much more educated on that even than I am. And so, you know, how does smart contracts and NFTs help simplify that process? You know, we talk to label executives, I call them rehabilitated label execs, and Web3 artists, to really talk about that and how those things can be solved in Web3.
Well, you really excited me, because you're a person that we need to connect with, since I've got this NFT project going. But me as an artist, I just think, the way I'd be able to authenticate my art, and that each of my art pieces are going to be different, and there is a story that I have behind the artwork, which I'll probably put into a book. I mean, there's so many different things that I can do with this NFT project. I'm like really excited about it. So I definitely want to talk to you about what direction I can take this in. I mean, Web3, and I'm a cryptocurrency trader. I've been trading for like 2 years now. That's what got me my interest in NFTs and kind of opened up my eyes to all the technology. I mean, healthcare, everything is going blockchain. Blockchain is not going away. It's here to stay, and it's very exciting technology.
I love internet subcultures. The cryptocurrency subculture has been around since like 1998 on these very kind of obscure message boards, and then
on Discord.
yeah, and even before that, there was, I think the first forum or like .com website was called like BitGold. Something like that, very basic. Like I'm talking about like the days of like ICQ and AOL Instant Messenger, right? And yeah, so what I had a business called Soul Pancake. It was a YouTube channel and digital kind of media platform. And one of the co-founders of that business, he left in 2012 to kind of launch what would eventually become a really popular, cryptocurrency. And so that was when it really came on my radar, because I, as not necessarily like a financial person, but I used P2P networks like Pirate Bay or LimeWire. I kind of understood torrenting and things like that in order to access software at the time that I could not afford, but I really needed. And so, he was kind of explaining it to me in that way all those years ago, and that was when I really kind of understood that blockchain, a lot of these underlying technologies and what they could represent is really like, as a user, as people who all participate in building and fueling the modern web with our data, like what if the web and the way that was built allowed us to actually benefit from the value and participate in the value generated from that data. And so in that sense, I find it, inevitable, in the same way that, eventually Instagram's going to have to pay people for all these reels that they're uploading. Same way that YouTube eventually had to pay the creators, of a certain caliber. And so all of these things are related to the same idea, which is kind of the better version of the web that's more democratic, that is, and that's more acknowledges all of us as owners of that internet rather than like a product of it.
Decentralizing finance and the web and everything. Yeah. So.
All right, Dave, you're not getting out of here without mentioning some of your favorite films.
Well, I love that. So actually, last night I happened to watch the 2011 version of The Lincoln Lawyer, and I was, because Netflix came out with a series, The Lincoln Lawyer series. I'd never seen the original movie, or the 2011 version. I think it was the original, but Matthew McConaughey is in that, and of course they parallel each other, almost the same type of story, but of course the series goes off on all these tangents and there's a bunch of subplots. But that was pretty cool. I like that one. Yeah, and The Gray Man, I saw that not that long ago, and that was better than I thought, much better than I expected movie.
Is that the one with Ryan Reynolds? Was that
Ryan? Yeah.
Ryan Gosling.
Ryan
There we
Gosling,
go.
yeah.
There we go. Yeah,
Awesome.
I saw that one too. That was a good movie.
Yeah, I like that. I thought it would be good, but it was better than I thought.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was good.
All right, Howard, real quick, talk about your book.
My book?
Talk about your book.
Your book.
Okay. Me?
Yes.
Yes.
My book. It's and I was an interior designer, and I wrote a book called "What Were You Costly Mistakes That Everybody Makes," and it is pretty good. I mean, I really should republish it, but I haven't. But and I
know
call
someone
y'all
who can help you
Yeah.
do that, Howard.
You're gonna say, we're sitting right here, right?
Yeah.
I know it. I know it.
You
but
led
I
right
think it
into
took
that
me
one.
3 years and a lifetime to come up with this book, and I used ghostwriters for it. And the only thing I didn't do right is probably I didn't have the correct pictures because I were making photographs myself. But the bad thing is these are all old clients, and I can't go back and take pictures. So, but the principle of the book, it really it does. I have YouTubes where I was on Nashville Entertainment Tonight on my Facebook page, and my principles do work. I mean. And you can go to my Facebook page and look at Nashville Entertainment Weekly and watch. I was on TV for probably 2 years with segments of the book, very much like what y'all are doing. But I did that about probably 5 years ago. Well, more than 5 years ago. So, but TJ Cates produced that. And he's also the one that put me in the Haunted Farmhouse movie that I'm in that's coming out pretty soon. It's overseas right now. And I played the ghost. So. That's happening also.
Howard, give your social media link.
I didn't hear you, Brian.
Where can we
Your
find
social
social
media.
Social media, just Howard Wiggins Facebook. You'll see me dancing. You'll see me posting pictures all the time. As you can tell, I'm a fashion guy. So I like anything that's beautiful, period. So.
All right, Judy. Favorite authors and books.
I actually typed to Dave and said, you cannot ask me who my favorite is because they're all my favorites. That has to be my answer. I cannot have a favorite. I truly, I love all books. I really do.
I feel the same way too.
Yeah.
It's hard to pick. I mean, there's so many incredible authors, incredible people, and incredible books.
It adds such a dimension, though, when you know the backstories. It changes the whole thing.
I think that's what happens. We get to know them so well, so we know the rest of the story, and they're all incredible people, and they're literally part of what we call the Hasmark book family, right? So these authors become part of our family, and we deal with them all the time, and we literally,
no favorites.
It's beautiful to talk with. Yeah, to work with them. It's so much fun. Yeah.
You could have Brian do a documentary on all your authors.
There you go.
I was going to say, I really connect with that because it is like you develop this behind the scenes connection with for me, like the subject where you have to always boil it down, right? Like, and even though it might seem like a book is so much or a documentary film, it's so long. But really it's an incredible process to get to know and reveal that information.
It's like
also got a name for it, chasing your dream.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Judy and Dave, where can we find you guys on social media before we go?
We're all over it, but I have people doing it, so it's probably at Hasmark Publishing, I guess. That's terrible to admit, but
I don't know
I'm
either.
guessing it's at Hasmark Publishing.
Yeah, if you go to Facebook and Hasmark Publishing or at Hasmark Publishing, you'll find us.
Yeah.
And Bayan?
Oh, yep. You can find me on Instagram at Bayan Joonam.
Beautiful. And then you can find me at Vocally Tosh on all social media platforms. And Terri.
And you can find me on Terri Marie Nonstop on all social media platforms. And then my website is terrimariaofficial.com.
There we go. Well, thank you guys for joining us tonight. It was a pleasure to have you on and hope to see you again in a future show. And to everybody out there, like Brian would say, smile or leave. Well, actually, Brian, come on, you gotta say it.
Yeah.
If you see someone and not a smile, please give them one of yours because the world needs it.
Exactly.
There you have it. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you guys.
Thank you, everybody.
So much. Yeah,
Thank you.
It was incredible. Nice meeting
Everybody enjoy
everyone.
their evening. Bye, guys.
Bye now.
Bye-bye. Thanks.